Welcome back. Nobody wants struggle, nobody wants crisis, nobody wants trauma, but the reality is that strength and struggle travel together. The reality is it is through our struggles that we build our greatest strengths. In fact, many people have experienced great growth through trauma. It's called post-traumatic growth. Now, many of us are not really experiencing trauma, some of us are. But we can find ways to grow significantly through crisis. And some examples of this is people often come out of a crisis situation with a deeper gratitude for things that they have, or more meaningful connections with those around them, or with a new perspective on life that is a powerful perspective towards achievement or making the most of time. One of the things that helps us grow through crisis is buffering ourselves against stress, and doing so through a very powerful response called the tend and befriend response. Tend and befriend means that in a challenge, we often will tend to those that we care about, or befriend others and support others in a challenge. What's interesting is that when we tend and befriend, we release positive chemicals in our system, oxytocin being one of them, that actually buffers us against the stress response. And when we work on tend and befriend, we also deepen connections that end up giving us a boost after crisis. So a good way to think about tend and befriend is like a service bullseye. So let's get a bullseye up here. So what I want you to do is think about that interior part of the bullseye, the tightest part, as your immediate household, the people in your family that are in the house with you. You could reach out and support them, or you could teach them a strategy that you're learning in EQ in your PJs towards helping them deal with their stress. Or you could just do one of those relationship deposits we talked about. But all of that would be tending to your immediate family, the center of that bullseye. If you go a little bit further out into the second circle of that bullseye, that might be more extended family and friends, people that you might reach out to with a phone call and check in on them and see how they're doing. Same thing, you could support and be an active listener. You could write them letters of support or send them positive messages or inspiring messages or memes, who knows? Or you could also teach them some of the stuff you're learning in EQ in your PJs. Again, that could be very helpful. If you go a little bit further out in that circle, you go to the third circle out, that would be kind of like your neighborhood or your community. And there's lots of things you can do in the community that can be helpful. And here I want to tell you a story. So when my daughter started this shelter in place, and we all were doing it together, my daughter at first was not really into her normal routine. I mean, her routine was all gone. So she's laying in bed all day and she's scrolling through social media, which I am sure is what a lot of people were doing. And what really became problematic for her was she wasn't feeling good. She wasn't feeling herself. She was feeling kind of lethargic and in a slump and not feeling connected. And after a couple of days, I checked on her. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she said, I just feel bored. I feel, disengaged. I feel kind of blah. And she said, and I don't have any meaning in my days. And I suggested, well, maybe we can find something where you could help. And she goes, what can I do? A 15-year-old girl, how can I help others? And I'm like, well, maybe you could do something in the neighborhood that might help induce positive emotions in our neighbors. And basically what it was is it's different techniques that you can do in order that actually improve your mood, like thinking of things that you're grateful for and doing a dance move or thinking things you're looking forward to. And she did a whole bunch of research on what things improve our mood, and then she created boxes for each of those things in the shape of a hopscotch. And she's even created a website and everything. And what's cool about it is she did it on her own just in order to help. But by doing that, it has improved her mood and it's given her this cool purpose that she's excited about. I didn't know when I started, but EQ in your PJs has ended up having a very tend and befriend effect on me. I'm trying very hard to just help through these videos. But what's interesting is as I've been doing this, it's giving me a sense of purpose to move through the crisis that I'm experiencing and the challenges I'm experiencing. And so it's given me this sense of meaning and purpose and helped me buffer against this stress. So, tend and befriend is something that can help us all. But the key is to find something you can do to tend and befriend. Because one of the great ironies of life is that we often best help ourselves by helping others. So, get started. What are you going to do?